Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where you are at. My name is Matt Tepper, and I am the Senior Marketing Manager here at GDS Link, and I will be today's moderator. First and foremost, we hope all of you are doing well and continuing to stay safe. And I want to thank you again for joining us today. In today's fluid environment, the need for organizations to transition away from manual processes and enable automated, instantaneous reporting has never been more important to stay ahead. In today's webinar, GDS Link and our premier partner, Predictive Black, will demonstrate how through leveraging best-in-class artificial intelligence cloud technology, your organization can seamlessly integrate banking and accounting data to generate accurate, up-to-date snapshots of your financials, assess client supplier performance, including debtor days profile, cash flow, income verification, and custom credit scores, and simulate all possible what-if scenarios through intuitive scenario planning functionality. Our premier partner, Predictive Black, has a core mission to help organizations plan fast and execute faster through robust and intuitive decision-making. Predictive Black's proprietary service uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to constantly improve and give increasingly refined predictive forecasts, giving stakeholders a competitive advantage when it comes to gaining confidence over their financial future and managing risk. When coupled with GDS Link's industry-leading modeling through Modelica Pro Analytical Services, financial organizations can stay ahead of the competition and improve profitability. Through our collaboration with Predictive Black, our team works with you to identify your untapped opportunities and turn these into reducing exposure, greater responses and approvals, improved operational efficiency, and ultimately more margin leveraging clients' open banking, internal and third-party data. Today, our speakers will be Carl Spilker as well as Mike Valadakis. Carl is the Vice President of Analytics and Advisory here at GDS Link and is an accomplished global executive who has held senior leadership roles for companies such as Easy Corp, Dollar Financial Group, GE Private Label Credit Cards, and Experian ScoreX. He boasts over 20 years experience delivering consumer lending products offline and online, utilizing complex analytical instruments and experience in small business portfolio management. Carl has purposely transitioned into prime, subprime, and deep subprime lending for the challenge to deliver best-in-class risk analytics and profitability across multi-channel products and services. Mike Valadakis is the CFO at Predictive Black and has 15 years of experience in the alternative financial services space across both online and retail distribution channels. During his tenure, Mike has held roles in finance, credit risk, product development, operations, compliance, and real estate. He's been responsible for launching alternative lending products in the US, Canada, and Europe, and has been instrumental in launching Denio operations in Poland, Spain, Finland, Sweden, and the Czech Republic as part of a European diversification and expansion strategy. So with that, Carl and Mike, I'll hand it over to you all.
Thank you, Matt. So thanks everyone for coming today. Today we'll spend a little bit of time talking about predictive analytics, how it works within the Predictive Black application, why we believe it's game-changing. Then we'll go through a demo of the application and cover how it integrates with GDS's capabilities. And after that, we'll have some time for some questions. So Carl, unless you have anything to add, I'll just kick off.
No, perfect, Mike. Thank you.
Okay. So at Predictive Black, we aim to use innovations in predictive analysis and artificial intelligence to empower businesses to make more timely business decisions. So how do we do that? Well, we start off by, we've developed a revolutionary real-time automated tool to generate predictive forecast, for cash flow, revenue, and costs. So since this application is always on and always learning, you can save time and money by eliminating manual processes and always having access to your information. Then we leverage the power of AI so we can connect and transform your relevant industry, banking, and accounting data so that you can actually use it to make critical business decisions and therefore giving you a competitive advantage. This is all delivered through a set of intuitive dashboards, and we'll get to those dashboards in the demo in a few minutes. So how does this all come together? Well, we first start with industry sector data. So we collect a large amount of industry specific data. It's broken down by SIC code. So we're able to display these data points that are related to cash flow, revenue, and cost. Then we apply AI-based algorithms to the data so we can generate sector outlooks for each individual sector. Now, once we have that, we're also then able to connect your specific data using APIs. That can come in the form of banking data or accounting data. And again, the idea is to pull down information using those APIs so that the integration is quick and seamless. Finally, we combine those three elements, so the industry data and your own personal data, so that we can generate predictions for your cash flow, revenue, and costs. And the entire time, as I said, your historical and your future predictions are easily accessed through the dashboards. So what I'll do at this point is I will jump into a quick demo so you can see what we're talking about. Okay, I will start off on the industry analysis section, since we were just talking about that. So the industry analysis, as I've said, we've broken everything out in terms of revenue, costs, and cash. We break everything down based by SIC code. So as you can see here, these are all the various SIC codes, and then you can drill down within each one to see specific industries. For purposes of this, we'll just stick to manufacturing for now. We use these gauges just to give you an overall view of what's going on within a sector. So for instance, if we were to look at the revenue within manufacturing, we've chosen these specific data points to display. So we have your sector revenue, number of businesses in the revenue band, confidence base, output price, business investment, and get the general idea. We do similar when we get into our assets or our cash, whichever way you want to look at it. So here we've talked a lot about deposits within the sector and SME lending within that sector. So this is UK specific data. So what you see here is around the COVID period, they had a C bills and B bills program, which for our US counterparts would be similar to the PPP program, where there was a lot of money in the system, and you can see the businesses took it. Consequently, you can see the decline in overdraft lending at the same time. And then we grab a couple of other statistics that we believe to be of value. Finally, we do similar on the expense or liability side. So we're looking at earnings, number of businesses in the employment band, and then the other things that you would automatically assume are relevant, such as interest rates, rental costs, fuel prices, and exchange rates. We're able then, like I said, to combine all of this information using using algorithms developed through our AI tools to create an outlook for the industry. So, and what you see here is you have on the left side the sector revenue that we showed you before, and then we provide a sector prediction over the course of the next 6 months as well for you to consider as you're looking at your future planning within a specific industry. So in a nutshell, that's the industry analysis that all pours through the system. Now, the application itself, as I mentioned, we use accounting or banking data. So what we use open banking, so that there's an API connection where we can pull down your banking information. And then we use similar APIs for accounting software if that's the direction that you choose to go. And what we do is, again, we break everything out into those three areas that we spoke about: revenue, costs, and cash, or liabilities and assets. So if we take a look at the beginning for revenue, you can see what we have here is all your transaction history by day. And we can then break it down in terms of, some monthly summaries, some sources of revenue, and then we provide a prediction for that specific piece going out next several months. The historical data that I mentioned earlier is also available to you, and you're able then to sort through it, and you can sort through it by amount, you can sort through it by date, you can search for specific vendors, and set specific time frames. Then we move into a similar view for liabilities or expenses. Again, terminologies, it's basically the same information, except now we're just looking at those expenses. Again, summary information for you. You have your daily information. You have a prediction based on what has happened at your business and the industry, and then all of the transactional information related to expenses is in this table for you to view. And then finally, what we do is then from a asset or cash perspective, we combine everything. So here now you have, using your accounting or banking data, a view of your cash, historical cash position, and then we provide you with a future cash position based on what has been going on within your business using those AI algorithms and what trends we're seeing within your specific industry. Again, information is summarized for you quickly and easily so that you can take a look at what has happened, where we think it's going to go, and then again, all of your transaction history is available for you within the dashboard. So as you can see, what we're doing, again, we're taking that industry information, we're taking your banking information or accounting information, combining it all together to give you both that historical view, but also more importantly, that that future view of what is going to happen within the business. Now, because we have all of this data, we're also able to then provide some additional information. So for instance, benchmarking. So we can compare where your business is versus the industry using benchmarking tools. For purposes of this demo, we've just selected revenue growth and asset position to compare how your business is doing or this demo organization against the industry. And then more importantly, or as important, we also have certain scenario planning tools. So we look at the scenario planning in two different ways. One is we model against prior year. So basically what this does is probably similar to what many people are used to. We start with where is your cash balance today? And if you had similar transactions to last year, this is what would happen to your cash position. Now you're able to add different line items in here, whether it's a cost or income, recurring, add a date, and you can say, if I add, I'm just gonna do 5 million pounds due to some new business that you've acquired, then you can see the increase in your cash position and how it changes. The other tool that we use for scenario planning is to actually use that AI-based prediction that has been developed for you. So what this does then is it shows what your cash position is based on the forecast. And then again, from a scenario perspective, you can do similar. You can add line items, whether it's a cost or income, whether it's recurring or not, and when it starts. So you can then say, you apply your change, you can then see what the impact of that adjustment will be to your cash position. You're then able to save that scenario for later. You can load different scenarios and conduct that analysis on the fly and decide which way you're going to go. And then finally, we also provide you with some supplier and client management tools. So if we have your accounting data, we can then pour in what is going on with your clients or your suppliers. So you can see who still owes you what, and what different payment terms are, and some key stats around the average invoice amount in the last year, or debtor days, whichever metric you want to look at. And you can dig in by your specific clients themselves. So everything is summarized neatly here for you. And then you can choose to do a deeper dive on a specific client or a specific supplier. So in a nutshell, that is the Predictive Black application. And at this point, since I've talked a lot about how Predictive Black utilizes the data, I'm going to let Carl talk about how GDS uses similar data to provide additional valuable analytic tools as it relates to lending and making lending decisions. So Carl, with that, I'll pitch it off to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. And the way I want to posture this is one of the things we've been able to do is given Predictive Black is leverage and integrated with small businesses and open banking and accounting software. We've got experience building solutions to predict fraud, predict expected losses, and also enhance affordability type of metrics in a systematic, automated way. And so there's a couple things we're leveraging from Predictive Black is their open banking data. And part of that is just levels of how do we take those thousands of data points, millions of records, and create a algorithm that crunches this data into something that can be used in our GDS machine learning models and the Delica Probe infrastructure. So what has happened is we've consumed the data that Mike's companies and providers have provided us, which allows us to generally create a bunch of features, which then moves us into the ability to predict models. So Mike, you can just jump to the next page. So what we've been able to do is leverage this data to predict an outcome instantaneously. So in a particular scenario, as a client onboards a new applicant or prospect for a small business, or in some cases a consumer loan, we're able to take that data and instantaneously score them and predict their likelihood of being fraud or likelihood of being default. So in this particular case study, I'm sharing a machine learning built model using the Predictive Black bank transaction attributes in the background. And it's extremely effective here. And if you're familiar with these type of charts, you can see we're able to capture roughly 40% of the bads in only 20% of the population. So if you kind of think about being able to eliminate and reduce a systematically a high number of bad accounts instantaneously while consuming all this data Mike walked you through, creates a very powerful automated weapon to remove a lot of manual steps or immediately consume thousands of data points to predict an outcome. I'm going to have you go to the next page, Mike, please. So how does this work? Is at a very high level? Oops, one page too far. There you go. Thanks, Mike. So how it works is just in a real-time manner as that client is being onboarded. The system's cleansing the data, it's creating the attributes. We're running it through the models in the background and predicting the expected outcome. And again, a couple of graphs to show you how well it's separating good outcomes from bad outcomes. And another graph how by score tranche, it's showing what percentage of accounts are bad. In this particular model, you'll say in the worst scoring segment, we're able to identify 80% of the worst scoring accounts in the first grouping by the bank transaction score. So in that first slide that I shared, there are a lot of different cash flow categories, recurring patterns, obligations, account status. We've got some trended type of metric you call the account dynamics in the background, which is basically taking what you probably saw in the dashboard visuals Mike was sharing. We consumed it in such a way that we could actually create some trended features to inform the outcome of the models, which becomes quite powerful, as you can see. And Mike, that leaves it back to you on the dashboard. So for consumer lending, be able to have an affordability, a fraud, and or a default prediction outcome can be quite powerful in enhancing the manual underwriting process and or speeding up and automating the underwriting process.
Right. And what we've seen in working with GDS Link is fortunately because we're accessing similar data points, we're able then to add more value to that client experience. And then with the GDS score as well, depending on what the client's looking to do with it, we can integrate that into the dashboard so that you can view, as a user, you can view what you use to base a credit decision upon, and then monitor that client or use it for client relationship management. So there's many different use cases that you can build once you combine the analytical capability of GDS's tool with the modeling and predictive analytics side on the Predictive Black application. So just to expand on that a little bit further, so the Predictive Black application is offering lots of different innovative solutions, whether, as you can see here, the industry analysis, predictive cash flow, predictive costs or revenue. We have benchmarking, supplier management, client management, and scenario planning. We also offer certain portfolio analytical tools so that you can manage your portfolio. And again, then we can integrate the GDS Link capabilities into that as well, so that you can view your scores and things that are driving the scores. So basically, in summary, when I look at all of this, we're trying to articulate that we're taking the pain out of planning for the future. So you as an organization are able to benefit from automation, visibility, and control of your data. Now, it is a low effort integration on both sides, our side and GDS Link, as it is cloud-based, and that translates to a lower cost and more efficient implementation. You're able to benefit from the power of AI tools and quickly understand and plan for your business. And what that does for you as well is it turns you into a strategic business partner and digital innovator at your organization. And critically, since it's real time and always updated, and you have access to this real time information, your projections are automatically updated. So if you can envision your current workflows, you would have to update your actual information and then go in and update your financial models to develop those projections. This is all done automated for you, since they're all interconnected. And finally, as we alluded to, there's multiple use cases to meet your needs. But at the end of the day, both us, Predictive Black, and GDS Link are empowering you to make better and more timely business decisions with this innovative technology. So it's whether it's to manage cash flow or to make lending decisions, that core app is there to deliver what you need. Okay, and at this point, I guess we can open it up for any questions that the teams may have.
Yes, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Carl, for a very engaging deep dive into the solution. We have had a couple questions pop up. If you do have any questions, feel free to jump into the Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom window. First question, is this solution only for SMB? Can it be used for consumer?
Yes, it can be used for either consumers or the SMB application. Obviously, we focused on the SMB application here, but the same core information in terms of the banking data we're able to obtain for consumers, and then create similar views that lenders can use for their consumer lending decisions.
And it seems like we have maybe a bit of an international audience here. Can the solution be used outside of the UK?
Yeah, for demo purposes, we focused on the UK, but the EU and US has similar industry, the availability for similar industry data points. So our solution at Predictive Black can be leveraged for multiple different countries. And Carl, I believe that the GDS application is country agnostic or geographically agnostic.
That's correct. And open banking provider agnostic, which I presume yours is as well, correct?
Yes.
You're not reliant on just one provider.
No, we are agnostic to that. We're willing to work with anyone. The data is all basically the same, so we're able to manipulate it and use it any way we need to.
Another question here. What has been the biggest challenge to date for clients, and how does this solve the problem for them?
The biggest challenge to date for clients. I'd have to say biggest challenge for them to date has really just been, managing that cash flow position. So there, and within the core application itself, what has gone on with this COVID period and a lot of the uncertainty, they've been trying to maintain a healthy cash position to basically at the end of the day make payroll, right? So the conversation early on during the pandemic was, how do I survive the pandemic? And fortunately, that conversation has now changed to, how do I get the most out of this rebound that we're starting to see? So I think that has been their biggest challenge, just making sure that they can react quickly, see what's going on, and make sure that things are going according to plan, and then take advantage of different opportunities that are out there. So while they have access to all of this data, how do they use it to make those decisions? And that's basically the pain point that we end up solving.
Next question here. How easy is it to get started?
It's cloud-based, so it's very easy. You would, on the Predictive Black side, you basically sign up. We'll set you up with an account and pull down your information, and then you'll start having access to the dashboard. So, once you're in accounting data, it's sometimes there's some quirkiness in accounting data that we want to sort through and make sure that we're representing it properly. But other than that, it's really a relatively painless process, and we try to keep the integration as easy as possible.
And that includes the access to the open banking thread?
Yes, the open banking is quite easy depending on what country you're in. We have an integration so that you basically, as a user, provide open banking access to your bank accounts, and then we're able to just pull down that information. There are certain rules and regulations in different countries, like in the UK, they do require that you provide that authorization, reauthorize it, I guess is the best way to call it, every over after a certain period of time. So then you are triggered to say, hey, we need to refresh your open banking authorization. But other than that, once you provide that authorization, we're basically off and running.
And this kind of dovetails into the next questions. Can I have multiple accounts, and does everyone see everything, or are there user access controls?
So you can have multiple accounts, and you can have multiple bank accounts that roll in. I didn't show you, but we also have like a portfolio view. So if you have specific clients you want to monitor, you can set them up within their own, say, application view, so you can monitor their cash position, which helps out on the relationship management side. In terms of access, we have user access controls, and basically, as let's say the admin, you set those user access controls as to who sees what. So you can limit your customer service people to seeing only certain things, while your finance department heads, or whatever the case may be, you might want to provide them with access to everything. Again, that's all managed through the application itself. There's a area where you establish your settings.
That seems to be the end of our questions. If you all do have any further questions, feel free to reach out to Carl and Mike. Obviously, both of their email addresses are listed here on the screen. I want to thank everyone again for their attendance today. Thank you, Carl and Mike, for your insights, and we hope this was a valuable resource for you all. Again, a replay of today's webinar will be available later today. But once again, thank you to Carl and Mike. Thank you all for attending, and have a great day.
Appreciate it, Matt. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks. Take care.